Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, aka Hamburger. Thank you, Oracle, for the nickname. Today I only have 4 graphs to show you. The rest of it's going to be just me. I want to answer some of these questions that I've been receiving, and I'm just going to give you my knowledge. First of all, there was a tax question that came up. QDTE and XDTE, as of today, their 19A-1s say it's all return of capital. If you're paying taxes on their distributions, you're missing the point. It's return of capital. I would suggest, and this is going to be one of those comments that it is actually advice. Talk to a tax professional. If they don't understand return of capital, find a different tax professional. You're overpaying taxes if you've got return of capital. That's just a fatherly advice. Return of capital should depreciate your purchase price. All right, so if you bought it for $50 and you received $1 in return of capital, that means your actual cost basis is $49. So when you go to sell this, it's going to be on the cost basis of $49, not $50. That's when you're going to pay your taxes. I'm going to do a whole return on capital video, because once you depreciate it all the way down to 0, then it becomes a different tax bracket. You're going to have to report it as income. I'm going to do this for you. Stay tuned. There's a lot of questions because there was like triple taxations. No, if you're getting triple taxations, you're doing it wrong. Please stop. Really, you're scaring me when somebody says something like that. So return of capital in this case is good. The next one I'm going to address is NAV. XDTE, if you are underwater today, you bought it back in July, and there's only a few points in July that you could actually be underwater today. I'm going to throw the graph up right now showing that XDTE is right back at 0. On Friday, it made full recovery. So I'm just looking at you going, there's only a few points in time does this occur. The second point on the graph is notice how far those drawdowns are on the recent drawdown that happened, right? When we look at XDTE, it's just below 5%. When we look at QDTE, it's just below 13%. Notice how they recover, because when you see the next graph, you're going to say, Brad was right. This is how it's working. Why any doubt? So the next graph shows the difference between close and market open. I keep on stressing to everybody, we are gaining the difference between market close and market open. From August 6th to Friday, I was going to say today, but Friday, you can see the percentage gains. Remember the last chart? It's literally showing you this exact data. And you don't want to believe me? You can literally download this yourself, create these same graphs off of Yahoo Finance. That's literally where I got the data. Took the close price, took the open price, figured out what was the difference in gains from Thursday night to Friday morning, and somehow magically it's looking exactly like what Seeking Alpha is telling us. NAV erosion does not exist. on these funds. Now, a couple more comments about NAV erosion. There's a difference between NAV erosion and erosion of capital. That's going to be a whole different video. Even the financial professionals out there today say NAV erosion, and they really mean erosion of capital. Yes, I know I'm picking points here. This is the same as it takes a village to raise a child. If you're raising a child, this is one of those grammar things that you should be slapped. You're rearing a child. You raise livestock and corn. God, sorry. And you're talking to somebody that will say more better. So just go ahead and throw it out that my English is not perfect, but there is a slight difference between the two. And even the financial professionals, even the ETF people are mixing the two. And it just kind of drives me bonkers. Comments, please don't think that I'm ever frustrated with somebody's comment. I'm just frustrated it takes me so long to write an answer that it's like almost, I need to do a video on this. Somebody asked about Delta the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all right, somebody knows something about options, right? I probably need to do a whole video on Delta, Theta, Rho, right? I should just educate everybody what these actually are. There's 5 majors and some minors, what they are and how they really become in play, right? Because we're taking advantage of theta, right? Delta is really the probability of it actually landing in the money, or approximately the probability of it landing in the money. So I just want to make sure that everybody realizes there's a lot more behind the scenes that maybe I'm not telling you, or I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of information right off the front and say, hey, the delta's, here's your strike price and here's your delta. And you'd be like, what is he even talking about? I don't want to go there. I think I need to do it baby steps. If you disagree, throw it below. All right. The next comment I'm going to make is, how often do you want to see these videos? I'm going to put out a poll today. Do you want to see them on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays? Do you want to see them every day? I'll throw it out. Whatever the community does, that's what I'm going to do. All right. Now, I'm not going to do them every day. If you don't want them every day, there's only so much I can talk about. I can show you the strikes and show you how much we're gaining, how much we're not gaining. But after a while, that's going to become repetitive. And I don't want to be repetitive. I want to bring you value. If I'm not bringing you value, then, I know that I don't watch channels that don't bring me value or entertainment. You got to have value or entertainment, one of the two. The next little table I'm showing you, real quick, this was Friday in pre-market. One thing I'm just shocked at my subscribers for not yelling at me about this. Do you know Round Hill is not writing all their calls that they could possibly write? And they're actually able to gain some of the upside even after they set the strike price? The ratios have been changing every couple of days, but I noticed the other day that, hey, you got 130, but you only wrote 113. There's 17 more calls that you could have written, but they didn't write, which is a good thing, because then if it goes past the strike price, guess what? We're taking advantage of those 17 calls for price appreciation. So when you say NAV erosion, I'm saying, what are you talking about? And trust me, if you think that there's NAV erosion, send me an email and I will respond. 2 people have sent emails and they've both got response, I'm going to respond. If you send me data, I will respond. I'll look at it and I'll respond. And thank you to our guys in the Philippines. Hi, Philippines. I just want to make sure that return of capital was really his question, right? Because he is in retirement, and it is important to retirement people that return of capital is there, because return of capital is not taxable. Very important. And I should say not taxable until you depreciate the cost value down to 0. We'll get to that in a separate video. And lastly, today, I'm just going to show one more. This only showing this because somebody asked, how come I said the distribution rate is 1 and not the other, and he calculated it one way and I calculated it a different way? I calculated it 3 different ways. Average distribution against current price, average distribution against average price, current distribution against current price. Everything returns to the mean. That's the reason I'm doing this. Because if you're retired, I don't want to go say, hey, this gets a 38% return on capital. Yeah, it did this week, but what's been the overall average? And this matters to my retirement people, such as myself. This really does matter. I don't want to be chasing high yields. I want to be chasing high yields, no erosion of capital, not NAV erosion, erosion of capital. And I want to be chasing something that I can rely on with reliable averages, because everything's going to return to those averages. I'm hoping those averages increase over time. And the way that they're doing XDTE, I think XDTE averages will slowly start to increase, right? And I think QDTE will eventually catch up, and but always be a higher distribution, because their implied volatility on that index is always higher. And that gets it back into option trading about implied volatility. And then you get into the Greeks. That's going to be a separate video. Hopefully, this brings out all your questions. Hopefully, I'm addressing some of your concerns. The charts are saying NAV erosion, not really existing. We're catching back up. We're catching back up after dips, right? Friday, we saw that XDTE and QDTE went past the market, and they're only able to do that because they didn't write all the calls, right? So there's 80% call rating, thereabouts, maybe 90%, and it's changing. One thing that scares me on QDTE is there's so many new shares, right, that eventually that's going to catch up, because those people are entitled to distributions, and they didn't participate on Monday and Tuesday, but they bought on Wednesday. So we're going to see some fluctuation with distributions over the next few weeks as people pile into these ETFs. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think the market for ODTEs is still strong enough to handle the increase in call rating. But that's another risk that's out there. What happens if there's no more buyers on the ODTE marketplace? I don't think that's an issue today, but it's something that we should be aware of. The other one came up was market risk. And the market risk is no more pre-market, no more aftermarket, and we don't get that differential. If that changes, then these funds are doomed, right? That is the question to market fundamentals. As long as there's an aftermarket and as long as there's a pre-market and it's acting like it is, then this is a good fund to be in. Hopefully these answer your questions. Please answer the polls. Please put some comments below. Any video ideas? I got tons of video ideas. Hopefully I'm recruiting a new person today to help me out in collecting some of this data for us. And then I'll be able to do more videos. Until next time, God bless. See you soon.